Hi everyone, welcome to Cooking with Chef Rich. Today we're going to be making pizza. Yummy. We're going to be making three different types of pizza. We're going to be making a classic round pizza, but we're also going to be making a Chicago style or Sicilian style pizza. And we're going to be doing pizza as an hors d'oeuvre. Holidays are coming up and a lot of people want to do hors d'oeuvres. So I'm going to teach you how to do it as how to make a fresh pizza for hors d'oeuvres, but do it very, very easy. So anyway, having said that, first off, if you like these videos, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Also, all the ingredients will be in the description down below. Let's run through our ingredients. I have some flour. This is bread flour. However, if you don't have bread flour, you can use all-purpose flour. We have water. Water has to be at about 110 degrees Fahrenheit. If you don't have a thermometer, you can always just use your, just touch the water. It should be slightly warm to the touch. I have some instant yeast. In here I have sugar, salt. I also have some garlic powder, granulated garlic, and some basil and oregano. I will say that if you go into a pizza shop, they never put any spices in dough. However, if you're making it at home, it'll just give the dough a little bit more flavor. So, and some olive oil. So having said that, let's jump right into the actual video. First thing we're going to do, I make this in a mixer. It's a lot easier than kneading it by hand. We're going to take the yeast and we're going to take just a little bit of the water and dissolve the yeast. It is important that, like I said, the water is about 110 degrees. To dissolve the yeast, it's very important that it all gets dissolved before you start mixing it. You notice that's a little bit clumpy. You can just kind of push on it. This might need a little bit more water. You really just want to make sure that there's no clumps in there. And if you push on it, that will get the clumps out. That's pretty good. The rest will be done in a mixer. So in here, I'm going to put my seasonings, my oil, my sugar and salt, of course, and then some water. I'm going to put this up to mix. We're just going to mix it for, this is a dough hook as opposed to a whisk or a flat beater. Oops. And we're just going to mix this for about a minute or so. Okay, after we have this mixed, we're going to add our flour. We're going to put it up to mix. When we put it up to mix, it has to mix slowly at first. You'll notice that the sides aren't mixing, so I'm just going to take a spatula and I'm going to help it a little bit. You can find a spatula. After it's all together and mixed through and through, I'm going to just feel it. Dough should not be so sticky that it sticks to your finger. Like when you touch it, it shouldn't be sticking to your finger. If it sticks to your finger, you have to add just a small amount more flour. If it's very, very, very soft, then you have to add just a drop more water, like literally just a teaspoon. This actually feels pretty good. So we're going to continue mixing it. This has to knead for about 8 to 10 minutes. So we're going to knead this, basically run it on low speed for 8 to 10 minutes, and then we'll show you what it looks like. So our dough's been mixing for between 8 and 10 minutes. We'll take it out. You know, it's a nice round ball. It's a little sticky, but not very sticky. Like when I go like this, it doesn't pull apart. Next thing we have to do is we have to do something called scaling our dough. I'm going to give you a recipe down below that will make exactly one 14-inch pizza. But because I actually did like a double recipe because I'm doing other things, so it does have to be scaled. I'm going to cut off a piece. Now dough does have to be rolled. For this one, I want right about 14 inches. A little bit more. 14.2, that's good. To roll pizza dough, if you take your hands like this and bring the dough together, then do it again. You notice I'm turning it each time, and you want to do this 4, maybe 5 times. Turn it again, and one more time. Then what you do, see how it's nice and round on this side, but over here it's a little, so just take your fingers, go like this, and bring it together. And then you have a nice pizza dough. You have to oil your pan. You can use an aluminum pan if you want. You can use a cookie sheet, a baking sheet, anything like that. You can use a cake pan. Very important that you actually take the dough, because what's going to happen is if you don't do this, the dough is going to stick to your pan and it will be a nightmare. And then push it down. The next thing that you have to do is cover it with plastic wrap. Let me get some plastic wrap. And this is also very important that you cover it. You don't really want to get the air in there. If you don't cover it with plastic wrap, the dough forms a bit of a skin and it's kind of nasty to work with. So that one's done. Now this has to raise. You notice the size of it. Sometimes I'll take them, like for you can take a marker. You want it to actually double in size. So it'll just sit out on your counter for probably an hour, hour and a half. I will time it and let you know how long this is out for. Some of that has to do with the temperature of your room and how hot your water is. If your water was a little bit hotter, it'll raise faster. If it's warmer in your house, it'll also raise faster. If your house is very cold, it'll take a very long time to raise. So I'm going to scale these out the same way I did that one. And I'll show you what it looks like once it's doubled in size. Okay? See you soon. Bye-bye. Hi, everyone. So our pizza doughs have been rising for right about an hour and 20 minutes. And you can see that, like, before it was about this big, so it's clearly doubled in size. What we're going to do is we're going to just very slowly take the wrapping off. Now, these two are going to be hors d'oeuvres, and this is going to be a Chicago style, or Sicilian style, here from New Jersey. What we're going to do is we're going to, a little sticky, pop any bubbles. Now, if you take your fingers, you kind of want to make a little bit of a crust all the way around. Not a big crust. And then, let me get some flour. What would that thought? You'll notice that the dough is sticking to my fingers. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to dip my fingers in a little bit of flour, and then it won't stick. I've made a crust. And now what I want to do is I want to push this out. Now both Chicago style or Sicilian style and hors d'oeuvres, they have to do something called raise twice. Meaning we raised them, they doubled in size, we're pushing them down, and then they're going to raise one more time. So that's pretty good for that one. If you don't have an aluminum pan, this can go on a sheet pan or any other type of pan. This is basically an 8-inch pan, so you can use a cake pan if you don't have a pan like this. Works just as well. First thing, you want to make your crust, go all the way around with your fingers, and then just flatten it. If it's getting sticky, dip in flour. You notice that I push down and I kind of spread my fingers to push down until it's basically the full size of the tray. Same thing with this one. First I'm going to make my crust. Punch out any air bubbles. Put it down, spread. Put it down, spread. Put it down, spread. Not a lot, but just a little bit. Any bubbles that you see, make sure you punch. You really don't want air bubbles in your pizza. The next thing we're going to do, I'm just using some Barilla tomato and basil. Whatever type of sauce you can use. However, the more flavorful your sauce is, the more flavorful your pizza will be. And you don't need a lot of sauce, and you don't want to go over the crust. Yeah, that much is pretty good. Like I said, you don't need tons of sauce on pizza. You can use any type of tomato sauce. If the tomato sauce you're using doesn't have a lot of flavor to it, you can add some salt, pepper, granulated garlic, basil, oregano. So I'm going to put a little bit more. Good. And same thing with our... The one for the hors d'oeuvres is basically also a Sicilian or Chicago style, depending on what part of the country you live in. Once again, you don't want to really go over the crust. And see how it's like that? Doesn't matter. It's going to raise again, and that will all get filled in. Get a little bit more. You do, like I said, want to make sure that your sauce has some flavor. So otherwise your pizza will be very, very, very bland. And what we're going to do is we're going to cover this up again with plastic, same way we did before, and let it rise again and basically double in size. So I will see you in probably 45 minutes. Hi everyone. So our pizza dough has doubled in size, and this is going to be for a regular round pizza. We're going to be making about a 14-inch pizza. I have something called a pizza stone. If you have a pizza stone, put it in your oven and get it very hot. My oven's on 480 degrees, which is as high as it goes. And it's been in probably for a good 25 minutes or so, so it's pretty hot. That'll give it a nice crisp crust. So anyway, let's jump right in. So this is our pizza dough. It helps if you dip your hands in flour. And then this is going to be the bottom of it. The top of what's over here will be the bottom. What we're going to do is we're going to dip in some flour. And we're also going to do the sides. That way you can work with it and it won't stick. I'm also going to put a little bit of flour on my counter. I can use a cutting board and make sure my counter was clean. We're going to put this down. The first thing we're going to do is do the crust. And to do that, you're just going to take your fingers and make a crust. Go around. Once you've gone around, go into the middle. Just push on it a little bit to... It doesn't need a huge crust, just somewhat. If you see a bubble, pop it. If you have a rolling pin and you want to use a rolling pin at this point, you can. Just try not to get the outer crust of it. The way they do it in pizza shops is it's a little more flour. It should move easy on your whatever. In a pizza shop, they take the edge of their fingers and they spread it. Basically, put it down, spread. Put it down, spread. Put it down, spread. And they do that a couple times. Once you've had practice, you can kind of do it quickly. Once it's a little bit bigger, I want it to be the size of this board right here. And I'm going to put just a little bit of flour on the board so it moves easy. The next thing, I'm going to put it like 2 fists. Just pull on it slightly. Pull on it slightly. Pull on it slightly. You don't want to put a hole in it. Very important. You can throw it up in the air if you want. I used to work in pizza shops when I was younger. Once it's big enough, it should take up relatively the whole board. Should hopefully be relatively round. Now at this point you kind of want to work a little quickly. I'm actually going to make that a tiny bit bigger. Should take up, like I said, the whole board. I'm going to be using Barilla sauce, which we talked about before. You can use any type of tomato sauce you like. Just make sure it has some flavor. That's pretty good. You don't need a lot of sauce. Yeah, maybe one more. You don't need tons of sauce on a pizza. Like you don't need a very, very thick layer. You'll notice it's a pretty thin layer overall. Now I'm going to be using mozzarella cheese. You can go into the supermarket and whether you get just shredded mozzarella or fresh mozzarella, or even sometimes they have something called pizza cheese, which is a mix of cheeses. So whatever you like. You don't need tons of cheese either, believe it or not, for a regular pizza. If you want to do extra cheese, by all means, you can. You do want to work, like I said, somewhat quickly because you don't want the pizza sticking to the board. It's a good amount. Now, the person I'm with, David, who's doing the shooting of this, likes vegetables, so I'm going to do half with some peppers. And these are just some red and yellow peppers that are sliced thin. To do some tomato. Actually, do some mushrooms first. You can put whatever you like on a pizza. Doesn't make a difference. You know, some people like pineapple. And tomato. And lastly, a little bit of onion. Now this is very, very important. One, helping blow under it. Puts a little bit of air. You want to make sure that this will move before you take it off the board. Like if it doesn't slide, see how it slides nice? If it doesn't slide, it's not going to come off your board. So that's very, very important. Go over to your oven. We have our pizza stone in there. We start at the very, very back. And just kind of shimmy it off. This will take about 8 to 10 minutes to cook. So I will see you in 8 to 10 minutes. So it's been about 8 minutes. And our pizza's done. Tiny bit well done. Should have probably checked it a minute or two ago, but that's fine. And looks delicious. And I'm going to let it cool for a couple minutes. Could be a little bit rounder, but that's all right. It's been a while since I made pizza. In a couple minutes, I'll cut it open and I'll let you know how it is. Thank you. So it's been about 40 minutes since we did these. You'll notice it's kind of risen again. It's almost like doubled in size from where it was because before I punched them down a lot. The first time it rose for about an hour and a half, an hour and 40 minutes. And this was only 40 minutes. Once the dough gets up to room temperature, it rises a lot quicker. Let's actually talk about these for a little bit. So at this point, what we're going to do is we're going to put all of these. These two are going to be for hors d'oeuvres. This is going to be a Chicago style. They're all Chicago style or Sicilian style. What we're going to do is we're going to bake these off right now. We're going to put them in a 400-degree oven. You don't need a pizza stone for this, which is also another good thing about this. And this will cook for probably 8 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, I'm guessing. I'll let you know when we're done. Some things about that. I had put just regular sauce in that. If you want to make a focaccia, if you like focaccia as opposed to pizza, you can use the same dough recipe. You let it rise twice just like that. But instead of putting sauce, you can make yourself a mixture of olive oil, some fresh garlic, and then whatever herbs you like. If you like rosemary or a little bit of thyme or really whatever herbs you like in there you can put. And you just kind of put the oil on top as opposed to sauce, let it rise and bake it, and you'll have a nice fresh focaccia, which is also absolutely delicious. So we're going to let this go for about 10 minutes or 8 minutes, whatever. I'll let you know, and I'll show it to you when we're done. By the way, my pizza lunch was absolutely delicious. Me and David, David's my cameraman. Me and David, we devoured the whole thing. So it was really good. Anyway, see you in a bit. All right, so we're back. It's been right about 10 or 12 minutes. You'll notice that it's starting to get slightly brown, but more so underneath. You can see that it's, like, if you look closely, it's brown. So that's done. Done cooking. And this you can clearly see is brown on the edges. Doesn't have to get too brown because this is going to get baked again. Now at this point, we can do one of two things. If you're hungry and you want to eat, we can put more sauce on it right now. Put cheese and whatever toppings you want to put on it right now. Stick it back in the oven, bake it for another 7 to 10 minutes. It's already hot, but you have to melt the cheese. Take it out and you have a fresh pizza. Same thing with this. What happens in pizza shops very often is they'll make a Chicago style pizza like this, and they'll take it out in advance. The beautiful part about this is we can cool this down and use it another time, meaning we can use it tonight, but you can actually do this 2 days in advance and it will stay more than fine as long as we cool it down first and then stick it in the refrigerator. So right now I'm going to cool it down for a little while and then I'll show you how to finish it. All right, so I will see you in a bit. Hi everyone. So our Sicilian style or Chicago style pizzas, they stayed out for probably about 15-20 minutes. And then I put them in the refrigerator and now we're ready to shoot. So I'm ready to tell you how to finish them. Okay. So they're all basically Sicilian or Chicago style. I'm going to show you a couple different versions. So the first thing that we're going to do on all three of them, we're going to put some more sauce. Right. So we're going to sauce these. You want to put some vegetables on. Pesto is really good. Nice tomatoes. If you do vegetables on these smaller pizzas, you should do like a more diced type vegetable as opposed to big, like earlier when I made the round pizza. I use like bigger pieces of vegetable. If you're going to do it on here, it should be definitely smaller size. So once it's sauced, so I'm going to do 2 styles of cheese. This is a fresh mozzarella, which tastes really good. I love fresh mozzarella. And I'm short a piece or two. Hold that thought once again. And voila, our 2 missing pieces have appeared magically. So that's one style. And with these, I'm just going to use regular mozzarella. You can use the buffalo mozzarella or fresh mozzarella. Now, there's a great thing about doing pizzas like this as opposed to the flat ones. The flat ones have to get baked immediately. And once a pizza is baked, I'm sure most of you have had reheated pizza. Is it edible? Yes. Is it wonderful? Not at all. It's just edible. Like, I don't love reheated pizza. To me, a flat pizza has to be fresh. The beautiful part about this is At this point, you can do one of two things. You can stick it in the oven and bake it off. And we are going to bake off one of these and this to show you what it looks like and show you how it comes out. But this one here, I'm going to stick in the refrigerator and leave it for my cameraman David so he has lunch tomorrow. It will stay in the refrigerator for up to 2 days without a problem. You just have to wrap it up in plastic wrap. And the thing is, when he bakes it off, he's going to have a beautiful, fresh, hot pizza. And it's going to look like a beautiful, fresh, hot pizza. It's not going to look like a reheated pizza. So that's the real nice thing about these. I'm going to throw them in the oven right now, and I will show you what they look like when they come out. See you shortly. So our pizza's ready. As I was saying, you can pass it around as an hors d'oeuvre, put a flower in the middle, and it'll look really nice. And you have nice, fresh, hot pizza. So, being that I do love pizza, you don't mind. It's really, really, really good. Now, our Sicilian pizza came out of the oven. This took probably 2 or 3 minutes longer than the hors d'oeuvre pizza, just because it's a bit thicker and I'm using a different cheese. What we can do is I'm actually going to just take this whole thing out. I'm going to put it on a plate so you can see what it looks like. And I'm also going to cut it up and show you what it looks like. I just want you to see the crust is nice and brown all around. Should be really, really good. I'm looking forward to eating this. So, actually put it on a cutting board. I like that a little bit better. It's a little bit nicer. And here we have a nice Chicago style pizza, or Sicilian style, depending on what part of the country you're from. And you don't mind. Taste my culinary creation here. Excuse me. Anyway, really good. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, hit the bell, and be safe.